The call of the Dark Highway. It was almost 10 o'clock at night. The rain-soaked city of Dhaka was slowly falling silent, its streets glistening under the faint glow of distant streetlights. The usual noise of the day had faded into a quiet hum, for friends stood by their motorcycles, helmets in hand, exchanging glances filled with a mix of excitement and unease. They had planned this trip for weeks, a long ride to the city by the sea, but the heavy rain that had poured through most of the afternoon had delayed their departure. Instead of setting off at dusk as planned, they were now beginning their journey deep into the night. There were 3 motorcycles in total. 2 of the bikes carried 1 rider each, while the third had 2 friends seated together. The roads were slick with rainwater, and puddles reflected the headlights in broken, shimmering patterns. They revved their engines and pulled out onto the highway, the city slowly disappearing behind them as they rode into the open darkness. At first, everything felt completely normal. The highway stretched ahead of them like a long black ribbon, broken only by the occasional glow of passing trucks or the distant horn of a bus. The cool night air rushed against their faces, carrying with it the smell of wet earth and diesel. The friends shouted to each other over the roar of the engines, laughing and joking the way young people do when they believe the night holds nothing but adventure. The city's lights faded behind them. The highway became darker, the trucks became fewer, and the silence grew heavier with every passing kilometer. Then something strange happened. The friend riding on the second motorcycle, a lean young man known among his group for having sharp eyes, suddenly noticed something unusual on the bike riding just ahead of him. He squinted through the darkness. There was someone sitting on the back of the lead motorcycle, someone he had not seen before. The figure was dressed entirely in white, a long flowing garment that seemed too clean, too bright for the dark highway. On the head sat a white turban, neatly wound, perfectly still. The figure sat upright, motionless, staring straight ahead. There was something deeply unnatural about the stillness, not the stillness of someone relaxed, but the stillness of something that did not breathe. The young man blinked and looked again. He was certain of what he saw. But here was the problem. The lead motorcycle had only 1 rider when they left. There had been no stops. No one had climbed on. No hitchhiker. No passenger. The rider on the front bike had been alone the entire time. So who was this figure sitting behind him now? He accelerated, trying to get closer for a better look. But the strange thing was, no matter how much he sped up, the distance between his bike and the one ahead remained exactly the same. He pushed harder on the throttle, the engine screaming beneath him. Still, the gap did not close. It was as if the lead bike was always just out of reach, always at the exact same distance, no matter what he did. He called out to his friend riding beside him, gesturing frantically toward the bike ahead. The other friend looked. He saw it too. The white figure, the turban, the impossible stillness. The 2 of them exchanged a long, wordless look of alarm. They decided they had to catch up, had to get close enough to understand what they were looking at. They accelerated together. The highway rushed beneath their wheels. And then the figure was gone. Just like that. drifted through the mist. It was sweet, almost heavenly, yet strangely unsettling. One of the friends whispered, "Where are we?" No one answered. The elder slowly approached them again. His expression remained calm. "You have nothing to fear," he said softly. "Our world rarely touches yours." But tonight, the boundary became thin. Our brother wished that a traveler with an honest heart would guide him on his final journey. "You were chosen." The youngest friend struggled to speak. Who are you?" The old man smiled gently. "We are only travelers. We once walked the same earth that you do. But our journey did not end with death." A deep chill spread through the group. Their hearts pounded against their chests. Everything around them felt impossible. The elder pointed toward the funeral bier. "You need only walk beside us. Nothing more." The four friends exchanged frightened glances. Refusing did not seem possible. Slowly, very slowly, they stepped forward. The funeral bier began to move. Yet no one appeared to be carrying it. It floated silently above the ground. The endless crowd followed without making a single sound. Thousands of silent mourners moved together beneath the strange night sky. The procession continued across the vast plain. Time seemed meaningless. Minutes felt like hours. Hours felt like moments. No one grew tired. No one spoke. Only the soft glow of distant white lights guided the endless procession. Then, a low whisper filled the air. Not one voice. Not hundreds. Thousands. As though invisible beings surrounded them from every direction. The whispers rose together into a haunting melody unlike anything the friends had ever heard. It was beautiful, ancient, melancholic. The sound carried both sorrow and peace. One friend felt tears forming in his eyes without knowing why. Another felt every hair on his body stand upright. The elder stopped walking. The floating bier gently lowered itself onto the ground. Everyone bowed their heads. The whispering ceased. Complete silence returned. The elder closed his eyes. For several long moments nobody moved. Then he looked toward the four friends. "Our brother has completed his final journey. Your kindness will never be forgotten." He raised both hands toward the sky. The strange white light surrounding the field slowly began to fade. One by one, the thousands of figures disappeared into the mist. Not walking away, not running, simply fading from existence. Within moments, the endless crowd was gone. Only the four friends and the elder remained. The old man stepped closer. From beneath his robe, he produced several small gifts wrapped in white cloth. Fresh fruit, warm bread, a small packet filled with fragrant herbs. "Accept these," he said. "They are given with gratitude. No harm will ever come to those who showed compassion tonight." The friends accepted the gifts with trembling hands. The elder smiled one final time. "When you return, do not search for this place. And do not speak lightly of what you have witnessed. Some doors exist only once." He slowly raised one hand. "Close your eyes." The friends obeyed immediately. A powerful wind rushed around them. The sweet fragrance became stronger than ever before. Their ears rang. The ground seemed to disappear beneath their feet. Then, everything became still. When they opened their eyes, they were standing beside the same lonely highway. Their 3 motorcycles remained exactly where they had stopped. The field stretched into the darkness. The marsh reflected the moonlight. It was as though nothing had happened. One friend quickly checked his watch. Only 3 minutes had passed. Impossible. The ceremony had felt like hours. None of them spoke. Without a word, they climbed onto their motorcycles and continued their journey. Only after riding several kilometers did one of them notice something. The gift. They were still holding them. Fresh, warm, and carrying the same mice. There are places that appear ordinary during the day. Yet after sunset, they become something else. Hidden deep within the southern countryside of Bangladesh lay a remote village in Barisal. The village was peaceful. Children played beneath ancient banyan trees. Farmers worked endless green fields. Fishermen returned home before dusk. Life moved slowly, quietly. But beyond the last row of houses, past the narrow dirt road, beyond an old bamboo bridge, there was a place that no one wanted to visit. The villagers called it the Black Water Pond. No one knew how old it was. No one remembered who had dug it. Even the oldest people in the village admitted that the pond had always existed. Its greatest mystery was its water. It was always black, not dark green, not muddy brown, completely black, like liquid shadow. During the monsoon, the water remained black. During the dry summer, still black. Even beneath the bright winter sun, its surface reflected almost no light. The elders believed the pond was cursed. They warned children never to go near it. Travelers avoided the path after sunset. Even animals refused to drink from it. Many claimed they had heard whispers rising from its waters late at night. Others spoke of seeing pale figures standing silently along its edge before disappearing without leaving footprints. Most people dismissed these stories, until one unforgettable night. It was the night of a full moon. 3 thieves had planned to rob a small grocery shop in a neighboring village. They waited until midnight. The streets became empty. Every light went out. The shopkeeper had fallen asleep. The thieves quietly forced open the wooden door. Within minutes they had gathered money, food, jewelry, and whatever valuables they could carry. The robbery was effortless. Laughing quietly, they disappeared into the darkness before anyone noticed. Instead of returning home immediately, they decided to rest beside the black water pond. They wanted to wash the dirt from their hands and faces before entering the village. The moon hung high above them. Its silver light illuminated the lonely path. The night felt strangely calm. Too calm. Not a single cricket chirped. No frogs croaked. Even the wind seemed unwilling to disturb the silence. One thief knelt beside the water. He dipped his hand into the pond. The water felt unbelievably cold, colder than ice. He immediately pulled his hand back. "What kind of water is this?" he whispered. The others laughed. "You've become afraid of old village stories." The second thief stepped closer. Then he noticed something floating far across the pond, a dark shape, barely visible beneath the moonlight. "What is that?" The others looked. First, it seemed like an old clay jar drifting across the water. Slowly, very slowly, it moved toward them, without creating a single ripple, without making any sound. The 3 thieves watched in silence. As the object came closer, its shape became clearer. It was not a jar. It was a woman. Only her head floated above the surface. Her impossibly long black hair spread across the water like living shadows. The rest of her body remained hidden beneath the black pond. Her face was pale, too pale. Her eyes were closed. She continued drifting toward the shore. None of the thieves could breathe. The youngest whispered, but no one moved. They stood frozen, unable to look away. The floating woman suddenly stopped, only a few feet from the shore. Her head slowly lifted. Her eyes opened. They were completely white. No pupils, no life, only endless white. Then she smiled. A smile far wider than any human face should allow. The oldest thief stumbled backward. His feet slipped on the muddy bank. Before he could regain his balance, a pale hand burst from the black water. It moved faster than lightning. The hand grabbed his ankle. He screamed. For only a single second, the water exploded around him. Then, silence. He vanished beneath the surface. No struggle, no splashing, nothing. Only widening circles spreading across the black pond. The remaining 2 thieves stood paralyzed. Then instinct finally took over. They ran. They ran without looking back. Branches tore their clothes. Sharp stones cut their feet. They didn't stop until they reached the center of the village. Their terrified screams woke everyone. At sunrise, dozens of villagers gathered beside the pond. They searched the water for hours. Nothing. No body. No footprints. No sign of the missing man. 3 days later, a body surfaced. The villagers immediately recognized him, but something was horribly wrong. His skin had turned gray. His body was covered in deep bruise. Every village has a place where fear lives, a place where even the bravest people refuse to go after sunset. In the northern district of Rangpur, there was such a place. Beyond the last rice fields, past the abandoned dirt road, stood a vast jungle that had terrified generations. The villagers called it the Forbidden Jungle. No one knew exactly how old the forest was. Its ancient trees reached high into the sky, their twisted branches blocking almost every ray of sunlight. Even at noon, the jungle remained dim and unnaturally cold. The air inside always felt heavy. The silence was unnatural. Birds refused to build nests there. Wild animals entered the forest, but many were never seen again. For decades, strange stories spread throughout the village. Farmers claimed they heard voices calling their names from deep within the trees. Woodcutters spoke of seeing pale figures watching them from the shadows. Several cattle disappeared without leaving a single footprint. Some people entered the jungle, but never returned. Those who did return were never quite the same. They refused to speak about what they had seen. One of them lost his ability to speak forever. Another never slept peacefully again. Because of these stories, the villagers made a promise. No one would enter the forbidden jungle after sunset. For many years, everyone obeyed, until one young man decided to prove them all wrong. His name was Arif. Unlike the others, he believed every ghost story had a logical explanation. He laughed whenever the elders warned him. Ghosts don't exist, he would say. Fear exists only in the human mind. His friends begged him not to test the legend. His parents warned him repeatedly. Even the village imam advised him to stay away. But Arif refused to listen. One moonless night, he packed a backpack. He carried a powerful flashlight, a hunting knife, extra batteries, a bottle of water, and a small camera, hoping to record proof that the jungle held no supernatural secrets. Just before midnight, he stepped beneath the ancient trees. Immediately, the air changed. The temperature dropped. The sounds of the village disappeared behind him. Only his own footsteps echoed through the darkness. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Dry leaves broke beneath his boots. His flashlight swept across enormous tree trunks covered with thick vines and moss. Nothing unusual. No monsters. No ghosts. He smiled. See, it's only a forest. He walked deeper. After nearly 20 minutes, he stopped. Someone had whispered his name. Arif. He turned around instantly. No one. Only darkness. He shook his head. The wind. He continued walking. Then the voice returned. Clearer this time. Arif. Go back. His heart skipped a beat. He slowly pointed the flashlight toward the sound. A man stood between two trees. He looked familiar. Very familiar. As Arif moved closer, he recognized the face. It was Kareem, an elderly villager. Kareem had always been kind to him. The old man raised one trembling hand. Go home. Leave this place. You don't belong here. Arif frowned. What are you doing here this late? Kareem didn't answer, and said, he repeated the warning. Go back. Before they notice you. A cold breeze swept through the forest. The flashlight flickered once, twice, then returned to normal. When Arif looked up again, Kareem was gone. There had been no footsteps, no sound, nothing, only empty darkness. Arif tried to convince himself that the old man had simply walked away. Till a strange feeling settled deep inside his chest. For the first time that night, he felt afraid, but pride pushed him onward. He refused to turn back. He continued deeper into the jungle. The trees grew thicker. The path disappeared. Branches twisted overhead like enormous claws. Then, another voice echoed through the darkness. Soft, almost playful. Come closer. It sounded like a child. Arif slowly raised his flashlight. The beam stopped high above him. Something was hanging upside down from a thick branch. His breathing stopped. It looked almost human. Its face resembled that of a man, but its body was twisted like a wild animal. Its arms were impossibly long. Its fingers ended in black claws. Its mouth slowly stretched into an unnatural grin. That never blinked. Arif stumbled backward. The flashlight shook violently in his hand. Before he could run, another figure appeared behind the first. Then another. And another. Tall. Thin. Covered in ghostly white skin. Their eyes glowed like burning embers in the darkness. They never spoke. They simply watched him.